Hello, everybody. Hope you are having a fabulous day so far. For those of you who are in time zones west of me, bright and early morning to you. Good morning to those in time zones all the way up to Atlantic time zone, where those and beyond, good afternoon. Or for those of you who are down under, I hope you're having a great evening. So it is time for Ask Doc Live. We just want to thank everybody for joining us here every single week as we bring information to you that is empowering. My name is Becca Dukes Kozak, and I will be your host for the next 2 hours as we again bring empowering information to you on what you can do as an individual in your own life, in your own community, that when you are working harder on yourself and other people see it, they want to know what you're doing as well. And that's how we build communities, and especially healthier communities. And that's what our goal is today. Because, face it, we look at the news, we look at those around us. Every time we go to the store, what are we seeing? We're seeing a hurting community, hurting nation, a hurting world when it comes to health. And we are here to provide solutions to helping others find a better journey. So without further ado, I hope you are all having a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day. If you are on live with us, we will be taking questions for Dr. Wallach. So if you have a question, make sure that you go to that Zoom menu, click on raise hand, and that will raise your virtual hand. And I call on people in the order that their hands are raised. So if you have a question, get your hand raised early. If you're able to come on camera with us, that would be absolutely fabulous, because Dr. Wallach likes to see who he's speaking with, because, the face, the coloring, all of that tells such an amazing story that will help him in helping you find the best protocol for you as well. And we use nutrition as our solution. Now, what we put into our mouth, whether it's on a daily basis, whether it's our food, whether it's our drink, everything makes a difference within ourselves. But we have to be intentional in what we do and don't put in our bodies. I have to remind you that if you were invited to this program by somebody specific, and it's not that I have to remind you, I get to remind you. This is a resource that we want others to share, and we want this to be a safe place that if somebody is an associate with us, they know that they can take and share this information and have those that they share it with get back with them, because that's how we're building our community, is allowing people to get information from the man, from the good doctor, without them having to know everything, and knowing that those that they share it with will get back with them, because they have a special way to order, folks. So if you were again referred by somebody specific, get back with them. Thank them for the information that you have heard today and say, I want to get started. So the content of this program is to provide nutritional information only, and it is not intended to take the place of your primary healthcare physician. And if you are nursing or pregnant or on any type of pharmaceuticals, we have to request that you consult with your primary care physician before starting any type of program, even if it's eating fruits and vegetables, folks. So with that being said, we have the amazing opportunity to share with you the man who has proven and worked so hard to get us freedoms in being able to do what we do as health coaches, as business owners within the wellness field. And that's sharing information about nutrition and how it really does affect our bodies. And he's even proven, he's one of the founding fathers of a science called epigenetics. And epigenetics has proven that the genetic theory, that the way that we transmit diseases, the ones that have been tagged and labeled as genetic, is false. It's a lie, folks. We have and are empowered. So, Dr. Wallach, I am so excited to be able to host this program with my co-host, Ruth Ellen Sanchez, Nasima Omar, and Dr. Judy here today, and Jonty. It's just an honor, Dr. Wallach, to be able to share the information, all of the research that you spent decades in doing yourself, plus reviewing what others have done, and either proving or disproving their theories and findings. So Dr. Wallach, welcome to Ask Doc Live.
Well, thank you so much for all the kind words and background info, Becca, and thank you to all the teammates and so forth. Appreciate you all. And of course, our visitors. And it's one of those things where we have lots of work to do. We have lots of information, but it needs to be engaged and put into our daily lives to be able to get the benefit from it. You know, just sort of knowing that it exists is a major part of it, but then you have to pull the trigger and make sure you're employing it. So I'm going to start out quickly here with life expectancy, because we're going to show you how to increase that significantly. The USA, our life expectancy is 75. The life expectancy of the Philippines is 71. The life expectancy of Australia, 82.9. New Zealand is 82.3. Japan is 84.7. Canada is 84. China is 76. The UK is 81. Russia is 72. South Africa, Sud-Afrique, okay, is 63. Mexico is 77. Italy is 83. Egypt is 71. Sweden is 82.7. Germany is 81.26. Spain is 82. Ukraine is 71. And Denmark is 77.2. Now, Hunza is 120. Why are they way out there for a much longer life expectancy? Well, when we started Youngevity, we spent a lot of time. We just didn't say, okay, we're going to open up tomorrow. We're going to grind up clay, and we're going to grind up all these rocks out of the ocean and so forth. And we're going to be like everybody else. We're just going to be more aggressive. No, we wanted to be totally different. So we spent a good 6 months looking at sources and nutrients and what makes them different and so forth. Instead of limestone, okay, we looked at the Hunzas with a life expectancy of 120. What were they doing? Well, they're just farmers in these little villages in the mountains, okay, in the Himalayas. And what made them different was they were surrounded by these volcanoes, which were constantly erupting and showering their water supply, their lakes and ponds and rivers and streams and their forest and their farm soils, are okay, with these ashes, which contained 75 or more minerals. Okay, and limestone might only have 3 or 5. Okay, so this is why we chose to go the direction we went in. Okay, using the Hunza as our goal, 120 instead of 75. 120 instead of 84.7. Okay, and so this is where we started. Now we're going to kind of zero in a little deeper here and look at professional athletes. Let's look at professional athletes, not college. It's worse for college. Let's just look at professional athletes. You'd think they'd be getting the best of the best. Professional athletes, the life expectancy, depending on the sport they play in, ranges from 53 to 59. When you average it out, it's 56.7. Okay, let's see here. The professional athletes under the age of 25, each year in America alone, 2,000 die from sudden heart attack, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. Actually, the same cause of death as sudden death syndrome, is deficiency of a single mineral. Okay. And then let's see here. We have billionaires. Billionaires, their life expectancy is 66. Emergency room doctors, their life expectancy is 58.7. And so what's going on here? Well, that's because they believe you could get everything you need just by eating well. Well, that's not true. And so what we did was come up with a set of 3 CDs, and I called them, there's a new bull in town, named it after Red Bull. There's a new bull in town, but Red Bull only has 1 mineral in it. They brag about that. They only have 1 mineral in it, magnesium. And I'm assuming that's because they fashioned Red Bull after this guy by the name of Bruce Lee, who was everybody's hero. He was the fittest guy in the world. He was the best athlete. He was, he was the guy. And he looked great. He could function, but he died at 32 in 1973. He died at 32. And that was 49 years ago, and they just released the doctor's view of his cause of death was he drank too much water. Well, that's nonsense. So I spent 2 half days a week ago on Saturday and Sunday going through all his printed diets and exercise programs and so forth. And to make a long story short, his breakfast was, let's see here, cooked rolled oats, okay? Cooked rolled oats as a porridge, okay? And then he would take a drink after that. He would take a smoothie, which he would add wheat germ to it, which is gluten. Of course, oats are gluten in his cereal. And then he would have spaghetti for lunch and dinner, gluten, gluten, gluten again. And the only mineral that they ever talked about was magnesium. I'm assuming he had some muscle cramps and he was taking magnesium to help relieve the muscle cramps. Well, here's a guy who thought that looking buff, because he wasn't eating any animal fat, although he did eat beef, but he had very lean beef. There's nothing wrong with beef, but he was missing all these nutrients. Okay, he was missing all these nutrients because he was eating gluten, 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 gluten with every meal and every snack. Okay, and so he died of chronic complications of gluten consumption. And I'm going to have, trying to get the autopsy slides of his tissues and all the biochemistry and all that kind of stuff to prove it. But just his diet is enough to tell you he screwed up badly. Okay, so one of these 3 CDs, the first one is Dead Athletes Don't Lie. That one we looked at professional athletes and university athletes and Olympic athletes. We find that they're dying in their 30s and 40s and 50s and so forth. And so what's going on there? They're all nutritionally deficient. And then CD number 2, exercise without supplementation is suicide. And this included people who own big corporations, very famous people who are in the governments and so forth, and professionals of all kinds. And they died in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. And so we have those in exercise without supplementation suicide. Then the third CD in the set is what kills billionaires. Billionaires can afford the best medicine, the best food, the best of everything, and yet their life expectancy is 66. This is crazy when you think about it, but they were given misinformation by the medical system. Oh, eat well, you get everything you need. Don't waste your money on taking vitamins and minerals. You can get everything you need just by eating well. Oh, you have a genetic disease, you have an autoimmune disease. Well, as Becca pointed out, I was able to find out that there are no genetically transmitted diseases. There are no autoimmune diseases, but okay, we do have a problem. And of course, U.S. Senate recognized this in 1936. They came out with U.S. Senate document 264 in 1936 and said, our farm soils in the United States no longer contain sufficient minerals to support healthy life and longevity in humans. It was U.S. Senate document 264, 1936. Why is that? Because at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, Thomas Edison pulled a switch in the first commercial electric generating plant. And within 18 years, we had been without wood stoves and fireplaces. We went to electricity. How many wood ashes are left over when you have electricity? None. When you're using hydroelectric, how many minerals get through there to refurbish the farm soils every spring? Like in history, when it would flood every spring. Well, we stopped the floods and everybody was happy. Oh, no, we don't have any floods anymore, plus electricity. What a great life. Well, it was all wrong. Okay. Remember that there's a new bull in town. Red Bull, 1987 from Austria. Monster, 1985, 2 years earlier, was a Coca-Cola product. Rockstar, 2001, Pepsi-Cola. Longevity, 2011, Rebound. And it's one of those things where, let's see here. I'll just give you a short version. The Rebound has 75 minerals in it. That's what took us 6 months to get started, because we wanted to find another place where the minerals were coming from that the Hunzas were getting. And so we have 5 locations we get these minerals from. And it's plant-derived colloidal minerals, 75 minerals. And Rebound has 75 minerals. Red Bull has 1. Rockstar has 1. That's enough. I could go into the rest of the formulas, but the best nutritional program, of course, is Rebound. We have the sticks, which I take with me when we're traveling. Okay, here we are, buried here. Okay, the sticks. Okay, I take the sticks. That way I can put them into a bottle of water when I'm on the road. I take these in my suitcase when I travel on an airplane, because when they're inspecting you, you put the, you put the canister in there, it's a powder. The guy's inspecting it for safety. They never put the top on tight again, so your whole suitcase is going to be covered with the powder. So I take the sticks. And then, of course, I also like the cans, but it does have carbonation in it. So what I do is I pop the tops, okay, say 2 of them before bedtime at night, put them in the refrigerator. So morning, all the bubbly's gone, they're flat. And I'll have 1 with breakfast and 1 with lunch, or maybe 2 hours after lunch. Okay, don't take the Rebound of any form after 5 or 6 o'clock, unless you're going to stay up all night dancing or something like that. And you get 100 nutrients, 75 minerals, and 25 vitamins and amino acids to maintain your body and to repair your body. Every cell, every system, every organ requires these things. Don't forget eggs. You need eggs. 25% of your brain weight, your spinal cord weight, is cholesterol. When you look at the whole body burden of cholesterol, the cholesterol in your brain and spinal cord make up 75% of the cholesterol, your total body burden of cholesterol. Okay. And so Alzheimer's disease costs us $305 billion a year to treat the symptoms. That's the USA only. And let's see here, arthritis in America alone, again, we only spend $626.8 billion. And diabetes type 2, we spend $342 billion a year in America. Heart disease, $316.8 billion. Obesity, $260 billion. High blood pressure, $131 billion. Multiple sclerosis, $85 billion. Asthma in kids under the age of 10, $80 billion a year. Holy moly. And then kidney dialysis, $24 billion. I'm pointing that out because all of those are preventable, reversible, and you can end them in weeks by taking the right nutrition and staying away from the bad foods to maximize absorption and stop all the inflammation. This is not difficult, but you do have to be proactive. Now, you do this for your car. You go into the filling station, you're putting gas in your car, you're checking the air in your tire, you're checking your oil. You're not just going to put dirt from Texas in your car. Well, come on, there's bound to be some oil in that. That's dirt from Texas. Why would I put oil in there when I can put dirt from Texas and save a little money? Well, your car's going to burn up. You put dirt from Texas in your engine instead of oil. So people treat their car better than they treat themselves. This is crazy. Okay. And so it's one of those things where let's get our stuff together here. Now, let's look at arthritis. Of course, we have the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack for arthritis. We have 332,228,200 people, okay, in America, okay, and we have 58.5 million cases of doctor-diagnosed arthritis in the United States. There's probably 3 times that many that are not diagnosed by doctors. People just say, oh, I got arthritis because they have pain in their joints. They don't go to a doctor for that. And then juvenile arthritis under age 16, we have 300,000 in the USA, 300,000, a third of a million kids in the United States with arthritis. Okay. And osteoporosis, remember, for arthritis, we're spending $626.8 billion a year just to treat the symptoms. For osteoporosis, we're spending 2.3 trillion in the United States alone. When you take the US, Canada, and the European Union together, we spend $6.5 trillion each year just to treat the symptoms of osteoporosis, not to prevent it or cure it. Okay. When you get osteoporosis of the skull, and of course, this all this stuff is in the book, in the CD, it's all in your head. This is just flying off the shelf because doctors have no idea. Doctors have no idea about the osteoporosis in the skull and the rest of the body.
I got it up, Doc.
What?
I got the book up.
Oh, you got the book up. Okay, great. Thank you. And then there's 37 different diseases you can get from osteoporosis of the skull alone. 37 different diseases. And we name them in the book in the CD set. And obviously you have to take the 90 essential nutrients, and that's why we came out with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack with 215 nutrients. The core 90 is still in there. Okay. But when you have osteoporosis of the skull, you lose your sense of smell. You get optic nerve atrophy. You slowly lose your vision. Your pupil will not respond to light. That's ptosis. Double vision. You get trigeminal neuralgia. That's cranial nerve number 5 being squeezed, pain. Cranial nerve number 6, double vision. Cranial nerve number 7, Bell's palsy. Your face droops. And then let's see here: tinnitus, ringing in the ears, deafness, vertigo, dizziness. Cranial nerve number 8, loss of the gag reflex. Your voice changes. And this is kind of a new disease in town. Doctors don't know what this is. There's a famous singer from Canada, okay, who was just diagnosed with all these problems. And one of her problems was she has trouble with her throat and her singing and her voice. So she had to cancel her stuff. You know, we're talking about clean.
Celine Dion.
Yeah, Celine Dion. Okay, Celine Dion, right? And so she had to cancel her whole stuff. So we're hoping that somebody will contact her. We're waving our hands in front of her team's face because we can heal her. We can get her back on the road. We actually have worked with entertainers or singers and so forth, and actors and actresses, and they were in the same position she is. And just after 70 days, 2.5 months, they're 90% better. Okay, and so this is something that Celine Dion needs to contact us or her team, because we can get her back on the road again, as they say. Okay. And then let's see here: tinnitus, ringing in the ears. That's again cranial nerve number 8, loss of the gag reflex and voice changes and taste. That is cranial nerve number 9. Gastroparesis, terrible pain in the stomach. I mean, it'll drop you to your knees and back. Oh, you got an ulcer. But then you also get hiccups. You get AFib, and doctors think that AFib, atrial fibrillation, when your heart beats irregularly, think it's a heart problem. They want to anesthetize you, cut you open, take your heart out, touch it with a branding iron to try and find the spot that's causing the irregular heartbeat. But it's really the skull squeezing the 10th cranial nerve. Okay, easily repaired very quickly. We do that all the time. Loss of the trapezius muscle, ability to raise your arms above your head. That's cranial nerve number 11, cranial nerve number 12. Atrophy of the tongue, the speech, and ability to communicate. So if you're getting cranial nerve number 9 and 12 being squeezed, you cannot communicate, okay? And then, of course, the spinal cord being squeezed, it comes out of the back of the skull. It's called Wallach's fibrosis, because when the skull is squeezing that spinal cord, there's 17 different diseases that occur south of the skull, including getting up every hour at night to urinate. We're talking about many, many things, going on, everything from your sex life to irregular heartbeat. We're talking about dizziness, balance, you name it. They'll amputate your leg. Doctors want to give you a double knee replacement, double hip replacement. And all you have to do is get rid of all the bad foods, maximize your absorption, take your 215 nutrients in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, and go ahead and take your synaptive, eat 3 eggs twice a day to rebuild the myelin, which is the white matter of the brain, which is the cholesterol in the brain, and it all goes away. This is not difficult. We've been doing this for a long time. And so I'm going to turn this over to Becca here. We've got just a few minutes here in this part of the segment. And you've seen these things, Becca. You have seen these things, have you not? Okay, you're shaking your head.
I have seen them many, many times, Dr. Wallach, and you know, it's 70 days, 90 days. I have one recording artist that was having some issues. We put him on the protocol, Dr. Wallach, and on my follow-up at 2 weeks, he's like, Becca, I think I'm at least 70% better. And that was over a month ago. And now talking to him, he's like, I'm at 90%. He's like, I believe in this so much that it's going to be in my upcoming music videos. So I'm super excited to be able to share more and more of the longevity products in a much bigger way, Dr. Wallach, because with all of the research that you put into it, with all of the, you know, formula, okay, anal formulism, okay, we're going to use anal formulism because you don't skimp on anything. Your son, Steve, if something is not available, that product does not get created and does not get distributed until all of the ingredients that meet our specifications are available to be put into the formula. There is no skimping. There is no substituting for something that's inferior. And the fact that we are going to be able to get this on a much bigger platform, Dr. Wallach, is well-deserved. Well-deserved. So if anybody that here is hearing what we are saying today knows of anybody that is struggling, make sure that you share this program with them. You can go to askdoclive.com. You're going to find all of the replays for all of our programs since we started in July of 2020, and be able to share information with them. On our website, askdoclive.com, you can even do a search for specific types of conditions. We try to stay away from medical terms because of the way censorship is, but put in symptoms. And you will probably find at least half a dozen or more videos that we have done in the past that share about that condition and what you can do or help others so that they can have a better health journey. Because Dr. Wallach, with all of the numbers that you mentioned and the average ages, and then looking at the amount of money that we here in the United States spend on sick care, we're towards the bottom, Dr. Wallach, of life expectancy, of longevity.
That's correct. And we're spending more money for healthcare than all the other industrialized nations in the world combined. We're supposed to have the greatest healthcare system in the world. Just ask any doctor, they will tell you. They'll brag, beat their chest like Tarzan and say, yes, we have the best healthcare system in the world. But then when you look at the statistics, we rank 57th. Okay, out of over 100 different industrialized nations, we rank 57th, or in some cases 54th. And it's one of those things where it's a, what should I say, it's a false, it's a false award that we're getting. We're giving ourselves a false award here.
Yeah, and I think there's false security and thinking we have the greatest medical system in the world. Yet when you look at the other numbers, if we have the greatest system in the world, why are we, what'd you say, 54?
54th, yeah, 54th.
54th of all the countries when it comes to life expectancy? That is crazy. And then I don't know what number we are as far as dollars spent, but we're at the top of the list.
No, we spend more than all of them combined, almost.
Almost, because I've seen some charts where we are so far above everybody else on the amount of money that is spent to manage health. And it's sick care. I have to share this. I was really tickled. So I was getting our chewable vitamin C's because one, they taste so great, Dr. Wallach. And two, I just wanted to get some extra vitamin C, and there's some other additives in there that just help boost the immune system. And as I was looking at it, it said the recommended dose for Heal Care. And I don't know if that's a typo or what, but it brought a smile to my face because that's exactly what it is. It's Heal Care. And so I just had to share that. That's something I saw this morning. But Dr. Wallach, you know, we bring this program to people each and every week because we believe that people deserve it.
Absolutely. All human beings deserve it.
And that's why I have my co-hosts that continually show up to share information in the chat. So if you're here live with us, make sure that you have that chat featured open, because Nasima and Ruth Ellen are just loading that chat with information that provides you with how to get more in touch with the resources that we will be speaking of today. And Dr. Wallach, you did not mention, and I was really surprised, or maybe I just didn't hear it. Dr. Wallach has his own website because he doesn't make any money off of the products that are sold through Longevity. He has detached himself from Longevity, the company, because he doesn't want anybody saying, well, you're just promoting these products because you make money off of them. No, he makes his money off of his books. And you can find all of his books at drjwallach.com, drjwallach.com. And you'll find all of his publications, including our bundles that are going to be coming out. We have bundles that are going to be released here shortly that are going to provide some savings, whether you're one of our health coaches, whether you're just a health enthusiast, or you're in it for the long haul, you want to dig deep. We're going to have bundles that are available for you as well, with some significant savings. And for those of you who have your own podcast, your own websites, your own blog, we're also going to be having an affiliate program for DRJ Wallach, so that as you share Dr. Wallach's books with others, he's going to give you a thank you check for sharing. So I think that is absolutely fabulous, because Dr. Wallach, this information needs to be shared. There's just looking at the United States numbers alone, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, they're really sad with all the money we spend for healthcare. That we're so low, and all these other countries outlive us. They're healthier than us, and we're spending so much more money than they are. And you've already said it, that it's the medical system that's reaping the financial rewards.
Oh, yeah. Huge financial rewards. And yeah, they've got expensive equipment, folks, but that expensive equipment is killing off cells rather than building them up and nourishing them and making them strong.
This is a good point to throw in again. Was Celine Dion, right?
Mm-hmm.
The doctors told her that she has an autoimmune disease, and her body's attacking her brain. It's an autoimmune disease, and they call it SPS. Okay, SPS, which is stiff person syndrome. Stiff person syndrome. and autoimmune disease of human beings. That falls into the science of crapola.
Yeah. I mean, you support the body as a whole, you support connective tissue, you reduce inflammation through your diet and supplementation. And it's amazing how stuff just disappears.
We always say, give us 90 days. Give us 90 days. You're going to see something positive in 90 days. And if you don't, that means you're still being naughty. Like, let's see here, Bruce Lee, he was naughty. He was eating gluten for breakfast. He was eating gluten for snacks. He was eating gluten for lunch and dinner. He was eating gluten for nighttime snacks. He had cakes and pies, which is not bad, but it was bad because the crusts were all gluten crust. And, you know, he had all flour in the cake and everything, wheat flour. And of course, in his smoothies, he would put wheat germ in there, which is gluten. And he ate spaghetti for lunch and dinner and so on. And that's why he died at 32. And it's one of those things where to take 49 years and wait 49 years, they probably waited until all his close relatives were dead. And then they said, oh, he died because he drank too much water. I mean, how can they get away with that? How can they get away with saying such a thing on such a, which they say, he was held up as one of the greatest fitness gurus in America, maybe the world. And he dies at 32 because he ate badly. And
yeah, he was held with great esteem.
Yeah. So
it's amazing, Dr. Wallach. But I mean, if I can see if he took and drank a full gallon of water, you know, that didn't have any type of minerals in it, and it depleted his potassium. And I have heard and seen, you know, that does, you know, not have good effects. But
eating gluten all his life, he can't absorb potassium even if he took it.
That's very true. It's very true. Well, Dr. Wallach, I have so many questions that come into me through the Critical Health newsletter that I'd like to be able to touch on some of these and get some answers. Okay,
let's go for
it. So the first one is coming from Dale. And unfortunately, Dale didn't give his age or weight, but he says, my doctor has advised me my blood platelet count is slightly low. Please advise me on steps I can take to bring it up to a satisfactory level, which he doesn't give an actual level, but I know in general what you're going to recommend. And should I be anxious about this? I would greatly appreciate your opinion.
Yeah, well, platelets are required, of course, to clot your blood if you get a cut or something like that. So they are required for safety for your life. Okay, if you get in any kind of trauma, or you for some reason or another have a rupture of an artery because you're deficient in other minerals and you don't have the artery health, the arteries rupture. If you don't have those platelets, you're going to bleed to death. Okay, so platelets are important, and they're actually made in your bone marrow. Your bone marrow is one of your best friends when it comes to your blood and your immune system. Your bone marrow makes red blood cells, makes white blood cells, makes platelets, makes antibodies, makes all kinds of stuff. So you got to do that. Well, let's go, since he didn't give us a weight, let's just go by 100 pounds. Got to get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no butter, iron, oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet ones got to go. And then I want him to have 3 eggs twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. 3 eggs twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. They have to be soft boiled, soft poached, soft scrambled in butter. They cannot be hard boiled and they cannot be fried. Then I want him to have per 100 pounds of body weight, 1 healthy brain and heart pack a month. Half of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. If he weighs 150 pounds or 200 pounds, he needs 2 healthy brain and heart packs. Take a full dose twice a day. Okay, so you know how that system works. And then he also needs the MSM. I want him per 100 pounds of body weight to get 1 bottle a month. So he can take 3 twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. 150 pounds, he needs 3 times a day. Again, we're building the bone marrow. so he can get his platelet count up. But I guarantee you, if he has low platelets, he's got other issues that are going on that can cost him his life. And so he needs to jump on this. And then he needs the Beyond OsteoFX, to scuba that with his morning drink, scuba that with his evening drink. He needs the collagen peptides, to scuba that with his morning drink, scuba the evening drink. The collagen peptides are collagen and cartilage from fish, poultry, beef, and sheep, and they will help rebuild the bone marrow. Most people never get to see their bone marrow in their whole life, yet it's so important to their immune system and to their circulatory system and their respiratory system, okay, and their vascular system, and yet most people never get to see their bone marrow. And then, let's see here, what else? I'm sure I'm missing something. What did I miss, Becca? Oh, vitamin D3. He needs vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And they will help him absorb these minerals and put them in the right place so the bone marrow can do its job. And so that's the place to start. And don't forget our rebound for energy. It has 100 nutrients in it. Our rebound sports drink has 100 nutrients in it, 75 minerals and 25 vitamins, amino acids. Red Bull has 1 mineral, magnesium, okay? And the rest is, sugar and caffeine and that kind of stuff. Okay, so you really, really, really want to go with our rebound.
Dr. Wallach, if he's not absorbing, I would definitely recommend the ultimate enzymes to help break through and add extra absorption, breaking the foods down so that those nutrients are bioavailable, and also breaking through that gluten coating that's in the digestive system so that you get better absorption also.
Yeah, and if you've never done it, everybody out there, you can go to Siri and ask Siri to show you a comparison between a normal intestinal lining, small intestinal lining, and one that's damaged by gluten. And I know you have a great 3 series picture, Becca, of gluten damage in people's intestines. I don't know if you have access to it now. Okay, so she's looking to see if she can get it up there on the screen. But your intestinal lining should look like a shag rug, should have all these villi sticking up like a shag rug. And then when you eat gluten, all those villi go away because the gluten is so caustic, it kills your villi. And now your intestines look like a plastic tube. You lose 98% of your absorptive surface when you eat gluten. And that's what killed Bruce Lee at age 32. He ate gluten with every meal. He ate gluten at every dessert. And, he drank some beer and wine, nothing wrong with that. But I'm sure he was drinking beer that's made from, wheat. Okay. And so it's one of those things where he was killed for lack of knowledge. He died from lack of knowledge. And he was going with a very simplistic idea of just eat all these sort of basic foods from long-lived cultures like the Italians, eat spaghetti twice a day, have rolled oats, uncooked rolled oats for breakfast, and put wheat germ in my smoothies. It's, how crazy can you get? Okay. And so, but everybody looked up to him because when you looked at him, I mean, he was ripped. I mean, this guy was the picture of what everybody wanted to be as a male, being ripped and just every muscle showing, no fat, not 1 gram of fat in his body. And he could, jump up in the air and kick somebody in the head and all this kind of stuff in the movies and the TV and everything. And so he was the guy. But he died at 32 because he did it wrong. He did it wrong. It cost him his life. And I'm sure it was a shock to so many of his followers. But then they never could, we don't know. And then they said, he just didn't have good genes for longevity. And then 49 years later, they come out and finally, I think all his close relatives died. And so nobody would go after them. And so they said, he died of drinking too much water. How silly can you get?
Well, that's very silly, Dr. Wallach. And there's a lot of things that could be the reason why that they have waited 49 years to be able to, or just to make this report. And then, you know, Dr. Wallach, as you've said, you want to see the slides. You want to see what they actually saw and what took so long. And I hate to think that there would be.
They may not know what they're looking at, because again, medical doctors don't get training in nutritional deficiencies. Okay, they think lupus is an autoimmune disease. They think rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. Okay, they think these things are autoimmune. No.
Well, and I can't believe that the good Lord would provide a body and create a body that would, quote unquote, attack itself. So giving the body what it needs, what it was designed with, which, you know, think about it. From the dust of the earth, what's in the dust of the earth,
Minerals.
depending on where you're at. And in the beginning, they weren't deplete. That's what we need to continually and intentionally give our bodies each and every day. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to talk with my technical guru, because it's not giving me the option to share this, Dr. Wallach, and it's giving me option to share almost everything but my screen. So we're going to get that up, and we'll make sure that it's also available for those of you who follow Ask Doc Live and are on Facebook. We'll put that in the Ask Doc Live Facebook page. We'll put it on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie Facebook page as well, so that we can make sure that everybody can see the difference between healthy villi, modest damage of the villi, and also severe damage of the villi. It's like you say, Dr. Wallach, you've got the shag rug, you know, with all the different surfaces, all that surface that allows absorption. And then whenever it starts to get damaged, it clumps together and then gets really hard and compact. And that's where you get leaky gut. You get that hardness, things start to crack. The things that aren't supposed to be into the body and blood start leaking through, because it doesn't have that protective, healthy barrier that only absorbs the nutrients that the body needs. So let's go to another question, Dr. Wallach. And again, folks, if you're on live with us, go ahead and raise your hand if you have questions. I know we had a hand up just a little bit ago, but I saw that the hand went down. So I don't know if, and one thing that I love about technology is it's fabulous when it works right. Absolutely fabulous. So next question, Dr. Wallach, has to do with, is it glioblastoma? L-I-O.
Okay, glio.
Glioblastoma. So Drew is writing into me, and his sister-in-law has been diagnosed with this on Monday. She's 5'5", 175 pounds, 49 years old. She has no blood pressure issues, no blood sugar issues, no skin issues, but she does have lupus. And it even specifically says there's no skin rash, but she does have lupus. And they are looking at doing 6 weeks of radiation and an oral chemo pill.
Well, the first thing I would do before you go any further, Becca, is give us 90 days before she goes for radiation. Okay. Glial cells are part of the brain. Okay. They're part of the communicating part of the brain, glial cells. And so lupus has to do with irritable bowel syndrome, muscle weakness, sometimes skin problems, usually on the face and upper body. Okay. But if you're eating buckwheat, you're going to have that rash on your face and your chest. But if you're not eating buckwheat, you have everything else, but you don't get the rash. The rash is produced by buckwheat. Okay. So back in the old days, everybody doesn't get lupus, but those who are eating buckwheat got lupus.
Okay. So what would you recommend for her, Dr. Wallach, as far as giving us 90 days? I know it's going to be the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart pack to start.
Now, she needs 2 of them per month because she's 175 pounds. Get rid of all the bad foods. And then she needs 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks, soft boiled, soft poached, soft scrambled butter, not hard boiled, not fried. Then I want her to have 2 bottles a month of the MSM, so she can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. She needs to take, let's see here, the MSM. She needs the 2 of the canisters of the collagen peptides, so she can take a scoop of that with her morning drink, a scoop of her evening drink. That's going to help her rebuild cartilage and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue, including in the brain and the skull and all that kind of stuff, and the skin, and let's see here, and the intestines and so on. But she's got to get rid of that gluten. She's got to get rid of all that stuff. Let's see here. It wouldn't hurt for her to get a hair analysis to show her that she's not been absorbing nutrition, because when you have something like lupus, your intestines, again, they don't look like a shag rug anymore. They just look like just a plastic tube. And so you can't efficiently absorb stuff, even if you're taking it as a supplement. I took those supplements for 6 days. Oh, there you go. There you go. And
so, Ruth Ellen, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
don't know why I, as host, was not able to do that, but thank you for sharing this. And excuse me for interrupting you, Dr. Wallach, but there you go. You got the healthy villi, the modest damage, and the severe damage. So,
yeah.
Okay. So for Drew's sister-in-law, we've got the 2 brain and heart packs, 3 eggs twice a day, the MSM, 2 bottles, so she can take 3 times a day, the collagen peptides, 2 canisters, so she can take 2 scoops a day. Okay, please continue.
Okay. And then she needs the synaptive, 3 of those twice a day, so 2 bottles a month, so she can let the brain cells talk to each other and go right there. And she needs to have the, let's see here, I'd have her get the Memory FX, take 3 of those twice a day. She also needs the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, so she can take 3 of those twice a day, so she can get the circulation into the brain and the heart and the kidneys and the intestines and the skin and every place else. And don't do radiation. Do not do radiation for nutritional deficiency. That's kind of like Bruce Lee. Don't go there.
Okay, so Dr. Wallach, I do have a question for you, and this is a question that comes up to me very often. I know that Drew is in Canada, and Ultimate Daily Classic, their government will not cross the border. Is there something that we can add in there other than Ultimate Daily Classic that would help to promote the circulation and clean the blood?
Take the de-stress capsules. So you can take the de-stress capsules. Take
De-stress?
de-stress twice a day. 3 de-stress capsules twice a day. And that's where I would go.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Wallach. And you know what? We're close to the top of the hour. And we can take one more question, or we can take a break, Dr. Wallach.
Let's take one more question before the break.
Okay. So Jeff was on with us a couple weeks ago. He's 52 years old. He's 6'5", weighs 238 pounds. Now, his major condition is, well, first he's on number 16 as far as specialists to try to figure out what's wrong with him. He says, basically, I'm very healthy, but I have never smoked anything ever and suddenly developed a breathing issue where I'm not able to get a full breath lying on my back. When I walk at more than a leisurely pace, my inhale is not linear, but choppy. And when I'm submerged in my pool, I literally can only take baby inhales. So he did admit that he wasn't able to write everything down. So we're going to make sure that we get him the protocol in an email so that he can get started on the program. So
let's get him started quickly here. I believe he's got osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the 12th cranial nerve. Okay, which specifically goes after the respiratory system. Okay, and also everything south of the skull, down the spinal cord. Okay, so he's a perfect example of that, the 12th cranial nerve being squeezed. And he said he's 52 years old. And of course, osteoporosis of the skull is not really related to age. Babies are born with osteoporosis of the skull. Okay. And so it's one of those things where I think that's his problem. When you get 60 specialists can't figure it out, that means it's something very simple. Okay. Because
yeah, definitely.
They want to find a fracture. They want to find a bullet. They want to find a cancer. And they can't find that stuff. They just throw up their hands and say, oh, you have an autoimmune disease. That's how that sort of scenario comes around. But I believe he's got osteoporosis of the skull. If we were to ask him, my questions would be, how many times a night does he wake up to urinate? Once, a couple of days ago, I had one guy, he said he wakes up 20 times a night to urinate. He's urinating. Were you on that one? Did you hear that one? Yeah, he was urinating like every half hour at night. And doctors couldn't figure out what his problem was. Well, that's because he had osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the spinal cord. The spinal cord is telling the urinary bladder to urinate. That's what's going on here. Okay, so that's what's going on here for this guy. And of course, it also, the respiratory stuff is involved here. When you squeeze the spinal cord, you can get COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. You get hiccups. You get AFib, atrial fibrillation, fast heart rate. There's a lot of questions we need to ask this guy. And I'm sure the 60 specialists, or how many ever it was, can't figure it out because they don't take into consideration osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing any one or more of the 12 pairs of cranial nerves and the spinal cord. And so this is what this guy is suffering from. So at 238 pounds, one, we get rid of all the bad foods: no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no Iran oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet one's got to go. And then he needs 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month of full dose everything twice a day. He needs 2 bottles a month of the MSM, so he can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. He needs 2 canisters a month of the collagen peptides, so he can take a scoop of that with his breakfast drink, a scoop of the evening drink. I'd also get him the Synaptive, take 3 of those twice a day. And also, let's see here, have him take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, 3. I'd get 3 bottles, so you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. Okay. And you say, is this guy in Canada?
No, this one is not in Canada. This one's here in the States.
Okay, so he can get the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, and that's going to help him with blood flow in the brain, the heart, coronary arteries, kidneys, all that kind of stuff, all over his body, his lungs. And so he's going to see a miraculous result here. He's got to do the whole thing. He can't cherry pick. They're always asking, which nutrient is it? Because they just want to buy iron only, okay, or something like that. That's sort of the mentality that doctors have placed in their head. Oh, you need some iron. Oh, no, you need 90 essential nutrients. You need more than just iron, okay? And so let's go with that and have him call us every week or every 2 weeks, every 10 days, whatever. He needs to call us so that we're able to follow him and guide him and kind of steer him in the right direction, because he's going to very quickly see some benefit if he follows what we're suggesting for him. Okay, with that, let's see here. We're at that up and down time. Okay.
Yeah. Let's take a little break, Dr. Wallach. Everybody get up and stretch. Let's get that fluid rolling. I'm going to go ahead and remove Doc's spotlight and remind everybody that you're watching Ask Doc Live. So this program is brought to you by AskDocLive.com. We are a website that provides information, including the replays of all of our programs. And we have a store that goes through, gives information about the products that we're offering. But if you were invited to this program by somebody specific, get back with them. They probably have their own special way of ordering, and we want to make sure that they get credit for referring you to our program. We will be right back after this short break. All right, I am back. Dr. Wallach will be back here shortly, as well as our co-hosts. And while we're waiting for them, I can't say, how honored I am to be able to provide this program to you. As a certified holistic health coach and also the student services administrator, I love seeing so many of our coaches on our calls and inviting their guests and sharing this information with them, because as a health coach, you do not have to have all of the answers. Knowing your resources and where to find answers is the important part. And that is what the Institute of Holistic Health does in helping you learn about the 4 areas of health, how they're affected by disease. And we go deeper into Dr. Wallach's research and what he has done in order to not just find, but prove that his research is in fact legitimate. For the many of you that don't know, Dr. Wallach used to have his own clinics. He had more than one where he was using his formulas, and these clinics were not the vet clinics. Okay. This is after that veterinarian stage, where after he went back to school and became a naturopathic physician, he opened clinics because he wanted to heal people. People would come, and these were not just like, not all of them were walk-in clinics where you had a 15-20 minute appointment, walked out with a whole bag full of supplements. Some of these were actually healing centers where you would come and stay a couple days, and spas where you got full treatment. And I would love to open up a few more of those and bring them back when the time is right. But he took his findings and the formulas that were created and implemented them in his patients, and had results when they followed the eating plan, when they took the supplementation, they got better. And I love his little saying, how he treats people like dogs, but they do get better. Well, he's actually a very kind soul. And sometimes we don't always see that whenever he is speaking with others, because we want to make sure that we're listening. We're listening. And I know he talks fast. He does. But that's why we have these replays available. So go to askdoclive.com and you can find the replays of all of our programs and listen to them again. And while you're listening, if you think of somebody, oh, well, they have that symptom or that condition, I wonder if this would help them. Share this program with them. Let them have the opportunity to hear that there are alternatives that they can implement in their own life and be an empowered individual. So as we're waiting for Dr. Wallach to get back here with us, we have people with their hands up, and I love to be able to get to them first. We have some questions in the comments that I'm going to be getting to as well in the chat. So, as they're going through and providing all this information in the chat and people are commenting, I just so appreciate my co-hosts, because they make sure that I try not to miss anybody with their questions. So I do have a couple questions in the chat here that I'm going to be going back to in this next segment of Ask Doc Live. So I'm waiting for Dr. Wallach. I know he's going to be here soon.
Hey there, I'm going to turn my camera off so that this will show on the audio, the replay.
Oh, yes, please do. Please do, please do. So she figured out, and for me, it's backwards, but hey, I think we can all figure it out.
Oh, okay,
So
let me fix it. Let me fix
it
it.
says damaged villi from gluten intolerance. All right.
Is that better?
There's different severities, not yet. There's different severities of damage that happens within the intestines. Healthy villi, even with that healthy villi, and we don't know the age of the individual, that's better. Thank you. As you look and you follow the different fingers that are coming up and down, that's all surface that as the food is moving through the digestive system, as it's being broken down, that's opportunity that those nutrients are being absorbed into the body and getting into the cells that are require the nutrients. And then as that surface becomes less and less, then you're getting less absorption. And that is, hi, Dr. Wallach.
Yeah, the only people who are not sensitive to gluten are dead people.
There you go. I didn't think that I was sensitive to gluten, Dr. Wallach, but I'll tell you what, after completely removing it from my diet, it's amazing how much better I feel. And I thought I was feeling really good.
25 years younger than you thought you were.
there you go. 25 years younger. Yes. So I look forward to getting old. Because I don't feel old. Where at 20, I did feel old. Not anymore. I love it. But Dr. Wallach, let's get to some of the questions that we had in the, let's go to one. So Liz, let me pull it back up. My screen keeps going away. Actually, as I pull that up, let's go to the next hand that's up, Dr. Wallach. And that is David. David, go ahead and unmute yourself. Thanks for having your camera on. And you are live with Dr. Wallach.
Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hello.
I've recently started on the longevity products for my arthritis. I'm on the Healthy Body Start Pack, the glucogel, and shortly I'll be on the MSM. But my question is for something that happened 8 years ago. I had a badly compressed spinal cord and they did triple fusion surgery on me. And about a month after that surgery, I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and I collapsed on the floor, badly spasming in my back and had to be rushed to the hospital.
I want to interrupt you here. When you said you had surgery, where was the compression of your spine? Was it in the middle of your back, your low back, or by your neck and your skull? Where was it?
It was by my neck.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
And the odds are you have, in addition to having stuff going on in your vertebrae, in your disc and all that kind of stuff, you also have stuff going on in your skull. Do you have any tinnitus or ringing in your ears?
no,
Okay. Do you have any, we know you have balance problems. How many times you wake up at night to urinate? Once, 3 times, 5 times?
2, maybe 3.
2, 3. Yeah, you have osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the spinal cord. That's they're working too low. You got to go up to your skull, okay? Because this is where the real problem is at, and they're doing the typical doctor stuff by doing treating you like a young athlete and working on your disc and working on your vertebrae and stuff like that. You got to go higher. And so, do you ever have any other stuff going on? Has your voice changed any? Has your voice gotten huskier?
No, but ever since then, I have a mass in my lower left back that feels like there's a yoga block in there, like it feels that big, and it's never gone away in 8 years. And I was just
Is
curious.
it something they can feel, or do you feel it only?
I feel it. I've
Okay,
always
so if they
felt
examine
it.
you and take an X-ray, they can't see anything, but you feel something.
Right. It's like a big, like a mass of dead flesh, it feels like.
Okay, you have osteoporosis of the skull. Okay, so and you're heading in the right direction, but you need to get rid of all the bad foods. Everybody in your household, dog, cat, bird, fish, spouse, brothers, kids, renters, everybody, you got to be gluten-free. No wheat, barley, or oats, no fried foods, no processed meats, absolutely no, let's see here. Oh, you got to get rid of, I said the gluten, and you got to get rid of the wheat, barley, rye, oats, and buckwheat. Did you ever eat buckwheat?
No, I've made those changes already to my diet. My wife has.
I know,
also.
but when you were younger, did you eat some buckwheat noodles or buckwheat pancakes or anything like that?
No,
Okay,
but I did eat gluten up till I started on this program.
good. But you need to really get rid of it. Your wife's got to get rid of it. Everybody in your household, you need to warn your kids, brothers and sisters, all that kind of stuff. And then also I would throw in the synaptive, 3 of those twice a day, so your brain cells can talk to each other. Okay, you need 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolk, soft boiled, soft poached, soft scrambled butter. Hard boiled don't count. Fried eggs cause cancer and so forth, especially prostate cancer, so you need to stay away from that. And, give us a call every week and give us a status report, because your scenario is very typical. Okay, the doctors are doing the basic stuff that they've been taught, and they're going down to where the symptom is, as opposed to what's causing the symptom, which is higher up. Okay, you need to rebuild the skull, you need to rebuild the brain, you need to rebuild the spinal cord. And again, I would get this book and CD. This will help you understand everything. It's all in your head, the book and the CD. And the actual recipe that I just gave you is actually in here. Okay, so that you'll get the information in writing. And what a great Christmas gift to give to everybody in your family. Give them one of these. If you get 10 of any one book, including this one, you get a big discount. Okay, so by 10, we have lots of people buy 10 of these and they give them to their family and friends and so forth. It's all in your head. 37 different diseases. And, you're, what should I say, typical of somebody who has osteoporosis of the skull, and the doctors are doing everything else, scurrying around, dealing with all the symptoms, location of the symptoms, as opposed to what's causing the symptoms, which are higher up the chain.
So that big mass that I feel is from the squeezing of the spinal cord?
That's correct. Yeah, the skull has a big hole in the back of it called foramen magnum, which is Latin for big hole. And when you have osteoporosis of the skull, I'm going to show you something here. When you have osteoporosis of the skull, your skull gets thicker. A normal skull of a human being is 1/4 inch thick. And when you have osteoporosis of the skull, okay, the top picture here, so do this correctly, there you go. The top picture is a normal skull, 1/4 inch thick. Down here in the lower part, okay, here, that's another human skull, same age. But it's actually almost 2 inches thick. It's squeezing the 12 pairs of cranial nerves as they go through the tunnels, and squeezing the spinal cord, all the symptoms. I've done so many autopsies on people that have this problem. Okay, now when you see that comparison of the 2 skulls, which one would you rather have? You want the one on top, because the one on the bottom is squeezing those 12 pairs of cranial nerves, which is that, okay? I always get it wrong, which is that, okay? And all the things that those nerves do. Well, those tunnels that those nerves go through get squeezed, and that's what all the problem is. It's up here, it's not down in your lower back. Okay?
Yep. Thank you, Doc.
And that's why this is true. Only dead doctors don't lie. The CD's in 9 languages. We've sold 900 million copies of the CD. It's in 9 languages. Dead doctors don't lie. It's the only time they won't lie is when they're dead. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. And Dr. Wallach, I love the graphics that are in that It's All in Your Head book. Because I know so many of us are visual learners, and whenever we can see something and follow the paths and see, where that initial,
Yeah, you cannot argue
yeah,
with this scenario. And when you show the tornado doctor, they say, "Oh, you made that up." No, no, I didn't make that up. Those are real people. Okay, it's just really tragic, but that's the way it is.
yeah, it's just the thickening of the skull. And folks, see this white line out here?
Oh, I can't see it. You had a.
That's the skull.
Oh, can we dump this? We have this panel on the right-hand side. All I can see is from your middle of your nose.
So, well, ignore that panel, Dr. Wallach. You would have to minimize that panel and dismiss it.
There you go. I've got a little bit of it now.
And then this here, the thicker white line.
Yeah. Now, there you go. Now you got half of each of the skull. It's going right down through the middle of the skulls.
Yeah, so it was what? It was originally considered Paget's disease, but then now it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rare autoimmune disease, Paget's disease. Right.
So
No, it's just a
thickening of the
simple
skull.
deficiency.
Well, and let's kind of look at this. See how thin the skull is up here in the top? And then how thick it is here? What's going to happen whenever something thickens? Because if you look at it, it's thickening inside.
And so those tunnels that the nerves and the spinal cord go through get smaller. The inside diameter gets filled up by that connective tissue, and put the squeeze on the spinal cord, put the squeeze on those 12 pairs of cranial nerves. And again, when you get to, let's see here.
Well, it looks like it's also squeezing the brain, Dr. Wallach.
Oh, yeah. So all these things, there's 37 different diseases you get from osteoporosis of the skull. It's all in the book. It's all in your head. Okay. The
There's
loss of
several of them.
smell, optic nerve atrophy, loss of vision, ptosis, the pupil cannot respond to light, double vision, trigeminal neuralgia, pain in the face, terrible headaches, double vision, Bell's palsy, face droops, tinnitus, ringing in the ears, deafness, vertigos, dizziness, loss of the gag reflex, your voice changes, you lose its sense of taste, gastroparesis, terrible stomach pain, they think you got an ulcer, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, AFib, atrial fibrillation, which is not a heart disease, but it does cause irregular heartbeat. It's the skull, that skull squeezing the 10th cranial nerve, which controls the rate and rhythm of the heart. Okay, loss of the trapezius muscle function, atrophy of the tongue and speech. And when you get atrophy of optic nerve, of cranial nerve number 9 and 12, that's what this guy's got. That's why he has all this stuff going on, and the doctors keep operating all over his spine, and that's not the problem. But he's got good insurance, so doctors keep milking the dairy herd.
Oh, goodness. Well, I love the fact that he has found us, Dr. Wallach, and I have heard how he's doing and the results that he's getting so far. He is just so tickled over. So thank you, David, for coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Wallach, let's go to the next question now. So this is a hair analysis question, Dr. Wallach. Okay. Now we've looked at quite a few hair analysis, and one of the first charts, it goes through the nutritional elements and lists many of the elements, many of the minerals that are found. And Christy had a hair analysis done. And on her chart, it's showing that calcium, magnesium, manganese, cobalt, lithium, zirconium, phosphorus, and selenium are all high. They're all in the upper part of the chart. Now, she has been on the product. She doesn't eat any of the bad foods. She's wanting to know what would cause all of the readings to be really high. And she said that she started to lose hair in mid-October. She's 72, 105 pounds, and 5'2".
Okay. Well, hair loss has nothing to do with age. It's lack of nutrition getting to the hair follicle where the hair is made. Okay. can also cause the lack of or the loss of hair color. That's not due to aging, it's due to nutritional deficiency. Okay. So when somebody has proper amounts of the nutrients and minerals, okay, but yet still has problems, okay, the problems are not from lack of nutrients, but from the lack of something else, a particular nutrient. So that's why we have a product called hair, skin, and nails. Okay. She needs to take hair, skin, and nails. Take 3 of those twice a day. It'll be 2 bottles a month of hair, skin, and nails. Keep doing the hair healthy brain and heart pack. Get rid of all the bad foods. Take the hair, skin, and nails. Take 3 of those twice a day. Because it's got all kinds of stuff in there that actually help the hair follicles make more hair color. Okay. And so she's got several things going on there, but obviously she's absorbing the nutrients because they're showing up in the hair analysis. Okay. But there's a communication problem in the scalp level, and so that's why I go with the hair, skin, and nails. She needs that collagen. Okay, wouldn't hurt if she's not. She needs also to take the MSM. She needs to take the collagen peptides and the hair, skin, and nails. Add that to her program. Don't take anything away because she's seeing some good results there, but she needs to take these other things, including the hair, skin, and nails.
Well, Dr. Wallach, if she has great absorption and she is a small person, with all of these being high, would she be able to reduce her amounts by maybe even a quarter?
Well, let's see how long it takes her to get the hair to start growing back.
Okay, so should she be concerned about having high levels of all of these valuable nutrients that our body needs?
No, she just needs to stay away from wheat, barley, and oats and buckwheat and all the fried foods and all the bad stuff. Okay.
Which she says she's doing. So good job on that, Christy. There just might be something that's missing that the body is still wanting.
Yeah, you can have plenty of nutrition, but if you're missing collagen, okay, which is like the connective tissue from tendons and ligaments and cartilage and that kind of stuff, and maybe she's not getting that. You can be taking all the vitamins and minerals in the world and not getting collagen, then you're having problems with your hair follicles. That's
right.
Why the hair, skin, and nails. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Wallach. Let's go to Deborah. Deborah, go ahead and unmute yourself. What question do you have today for Dr. Wallach?
Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
Becca team. My question is, thank you guys for what you do. I have several kind of different questions, different situations. I have somebody that has arthritis issues, and for cost containment, she's gonna take the pig pack, and she's also been taking aspirin, 1 a day for, a heart preventative thing. Is that recommended? Does she continue with the aspirin, or should she stop the aspirin since she's gonna be on a pig pack?
Okay, well, I have her change that just a little bit. Instead of the pig pack, I'd have her take the pig arthritis formula. Okay, which is really our healthy bone and joint pack. Okay.
So the big pack is the arthritis pack, Dr. Wallach. They just changed the name on us.
Okay. Yeah, the pig arthritis formula, pig pack. Okay.
Okay.
And so that's going to we actually our first collagen, okay, was our glucogel, which we made for Theo Ratliff, a great basketball player. Okay, we helped rebuild him. He was 24 years old and had bone-to-bone arthritis in both his knees. The cartilage slipped off his hips. He fractured his wrist and a shooting arm. And the Atlanta Hawks took away his $35 million contract at 24 years of age. We rebuilt him. He came back, I don't know, maybe 3 months later, got his position back, and he played for 11 more years and made $100 million. Now, do you think Theo likes our product? Of course. That's why his picture's on the containers. Okay,
Does she, so is it a problem for her to continue on the aspirin?
well, aspirin was an age-old product for pain and swelling and that kind of stuff. But I would have her slowly reduce it. I wouldn't just cold turkey off of it. I would have her slowly reduce it. You know, if she's been taking one aspirin a day forever, break it in half and take half an aspirin per day for a couple of weeks and see if that gives her the same results she's looking for. Okay. But usually when you're taking all this collagen and so forth, it's going to reduce or eliminate the discomfort and pain. All right. Of course, we have the CM cream. We have the Soothe, okay, from our Hemp FX division, and so forth. We have all kinds of topical and oral stuff for pain relief that actually has nutrition in it, whereas aspirin doesn't have nutrition in it. But aspirin is, you know, like an age-old thing that everybody uses. You know, they self-diagnose arthritis or joint pain or something like that, and they'll take aspirin, they get pain relief. They'll get pain relief for a couple of years until they can't walk anymore, and then they go in for a knee replacement. Let's rebuild it before you need a knee replacement. Okay.
Yeah, she said hers was more preventative for heart issues.
Oh, well, that's where if she wants to take something for prevention for heart issues, she can take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Take 3 of those twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, it's more nutrition, whereas the aspirin can actually slightly dilate the arteries in the heart and the kidneys so that you're getting a little bit more blood flow. Okay. Also can retard blood clots, which can be life-threatening if if you get in a car accident, you've been on aspirin, and you bleed to death because you've been on aspirin. So it's one of those things where, you know, it's a give and take here.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. I have another question. Is an individual that has thyroid hypothyroidism, and is the doctor said, because I know that they're not supposed to eat cruciferous vegetables, but the doctor told her it's okay to eat it as long as it's well cooked.
That doctor should have his or her license taken away.
That's what I was.
Okay. Basically, when you have thyroid issues, they need our Ocean's Gold. Take 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. Stay away from all the bad stuff. Use our salt with all the minerals in it. Okay, the Himalayan salt, our seasoned salt from Australia, if the Himalayan salt's on back order. And it has all these trace minerals from the ocean. Okay, which does wonderful things for the thyroid. That's why sea salt was the first nutritional supplement sold around the world with sea salt, because it not only had sodium chloride, not only had salt, but it also had the minerals from the ocean. And we could take people that had an enormously enlarged thyroid gland, and they were just really sick from thyroid problems. Okay, and then in just 2 weeks on the sea salt, the thyroid gland became normal. Because the thyroid gland is very, very responsive to the supplements. Okay.
Okay. One other question, is there a form of synaptive that comes in powder or liquid or a substitute?
Well, we do have the synaptive that comes in that cream that you put on the joint. That's the one I like to use if I, hurt myself working in the yard or loading the truck or something like that.
The synaptive, Dr. Wallach, is only in a tablet. With the synaptive, no, she's asking about synaptive, not Soothe.
Okay.
And so, Deborah, one thing that you can do is you can grind that up into a powder and mix it with other, like the tangy tangerine.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Just keep in touch with us because you have some great questions there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach.
All right. Thank you, Deborah. Next, Ruth Ellen has had her hand up, and unfortunately, as a co-host, her hand is not up in the order that it was received. It's been up for a long time. So Ruth Ellen, if you could please unmute yourself. You're on live with Dr. Wallach. Did you have a question for Dr. Wallach today?
I do have a question that is from one of my clients. His name is Albert, and he is 63 years old. He weighs 220 pounds and he's 5'10". He is not on a gluten-free diet, and we're working on that. But he had a question and I wanted to make sure that it got to you. So since he was 16 years old, he's had tinnitus. He noticed it started when he had drainage from the sinus area one time, and then when it drained, his ears started to ring, having that noise. And also right before that, he had his wisdom teeth out. So he wanted to know if there was any correlation to that. And then he has graying and silvering hair. And
I know he's 63
years old.
Yeah, okay. But when did all this stuff start? When he was a teenager?
16 years old.
16, yeah. Okay. Now, the fact that he had his wisdom teeth taken out and he had tinnitus ringing in the ears, that's osteoporosis of the skull. Because when your wisdom teeth are loose or they're floating around, moving around, receding gums and everything, guess what your jaw is part of? Skull. It's part of the skull thing. So when you have osteoporosis of the skull, you're going to get osteoporosis of the jaw. As the jaw shrinks, the teeth get loose, and that's why they pull the wisdom teeth out. Okay, so he had osteoporosis of the skull. Babies are born, okay, with osteoporosis of the skull. So it's not something that only occurs in older people. It's an deficiency. It's not an age thing.
Right.
Okay, so
Yes. And
220 pounds, you need to get rid of all the bad foods. 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, a full dose of everything twice a day, 2 bottles a month of the MSM, so he can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, or dinner. He needs the collagen peptides, 2 of those cancers a month, so he can take a scoop with breakfast, scoop with dinner drinks. He needs the Beyond OsteoFX. He needs more calcium Beyond OsteoFX. Take a scoop of that twice a day in the drinks. I do that every morning. And then he also needs the vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. He needs the Synaptive, 3 of those twice a day, 2 bottles a month. He also needs 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks, soft scrambled in butter, or soft poached, soft boiled. Hard-boiled eggs won't count, and fried eggs cause cancer. So those are the sort of things that will help him solve those problems. It's going to take a little while because he's had osteoporosis of the skull since he was 16. Okay, right. So this isn't going to be fixed overnight. This might take 2-3 months, but he'll see some benefit very quickly.
Okay. And then he had 2 more questions. He is on a statin medication, and so he needs to hear it from a doctor, not me. Should he discontinue his statin medication? And also he has borderline high blood pressure.
Is he taking statin medication to prevent blood clots?
His cholesterol.
Oh, he wants his cholesterol.
Yeah, so the doctor put him on a statin medication for cholesterol, and then he's on a medication for blood pressure.
He needs to cut it by 30%, and then in a month cut it by half, and then after the 3rd month drop it. Okay. Eating those 3 eggs twice a day. Cholesterol is one of your best friends, and so for doctors to put him on drugs that lower cholesterol and tell him to change his diet to avoid cholesterol is actually should be malpractice.
I agree. Okay. Then he takes losartan 50 milligrams twice a day for his blood pressure, but his blood pressure numbers are not that high. They're just a little bit higher than what they consider normal.
Okay, well, he needs the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, 3 of those twice a day, 2 bottles a month. And if he's on the low statin and these other blood pressure medications, don't cold turkey off of them. But as the blood pressure begins to drop, they can slowly reduce the medication based on the numbers. Might take 30, 60, 90 days, and he'll be off his blood pressure medication because if he's only a few points above normal, it'll be very quickly he'll respond positively. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Ruth Ellen. And Dr. Wallach, let's go to Lori, who has her hand up. Lori, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello. My son is relatively new to longevity, and he asked me to join in. And so I think my story's pretty simple. 33 years ago, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, and before I did take the radioactive iodine pill to, I guess, kill part of it, I felt horrible. I never slept. I shook. I had all the symptoms, bugging eyes and all that. But anyway, I felt like I did what they told me, the doctors, and felt pretty good throughout
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Why do you trust doctors so much?
Well, at the time, they told me I could have died because if I had a thyroid storm, I was so overactive, but I felt a million times better. But anyway, that's all in the past. I had it where I was feeling like $1,000,000, but then about a week ago, I think stress triggers when I have hyperthyroid, and not a hypo, so there's a difference. But anyway, my question is, because the doctor said when they did these blood tests, normally they would just check it to make sure I had the right level of, well, it's the generic for Synthroid, which is levothyroxine, I think is how you pronounce it.
Levothyroxine. Mm-hmm.
Right. I take, let's see, I've got my bottle right here. I think I take 112 mcgs of that every day. And I feel like if I stopped, I would be a shaky mess. But anyway, that was why I went in there to say, oh, maybe it's off. Why am I feeling fatigue? And what happened was there were 3 things that came up. He wanted to do a protein, more blood analysis. So here's my question. My hemoglobin GQN serum is high. It says it's 2,128 when it should be between 500 and 1,600 or something like that. So what do you suggest that why it's high in my blood analysis for that?
It's hard to say, but here's the deal. You need to get our Ocean's Gold.
Ocean's
And 3 of
Gold.
those twice a day. Ocean's Gold.
Okay.
Ocean's Gold. Take 3
Okay.
times a day. Stay away from all the bad stuff. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oil, no gluten, no wheat, no
I
butter,
never eat fried food,
that
so
all
I-
that.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And then watch what happens. Your thyroid's going to be very happy, and Graves' disease goes away very quickly. Okay, don't cold turkey off your medication, but as your symptoms get better, you can slowly reduce it. And, you're looking for a great result within 30 to 60 days. And within 60 to 90 days, you should be a totally new person. Okay, now how long do you have to stay on all these nutrients? The brain and heart pack, and the MSM, and the collagen peptides, and and the Ocean's Gold. Well, how long do you need oxygen? How long do you need?
Well, the thing is, it's easy to say, just don't take it. But one time I went on vacation and didn't have it. And my body felt.
Tell me what it is. You say I didn't have it. What is it?
The Synthroid or generic
Well,
Synthroid.
I'm not saying cold turkey off of it. I'm saying after you've been on our program
Right.
for a month.
Well, then I guess I'd go to the doctor. He'd test me because I can't just take lower amount. It'd have to be prescribed. You can't just, I don't know how that can happen. It's not like you can take a half a pill, or, they would have to give me the lower dosage.
Well, you can crack pills in half with a butter knife.
We absolutely recommend that you work with your primary care physician and making sure that you are getting your prescriptions because they were prescribed by a primary care physician. We do have to recommend that you work with your primary care physician to have that lowered. But remember, you're the authority of your own health. So if you're feeling better, take it upon yourself to go see your doctor and say, hey, I don't think I need this anymore. Or hold on just a minute. You got muted, Lori.
Okay. Well, they were telling me I need to see a hematologist because not only the hemoglobin was high, the free kappa LT chain was high. Do you know anything about that? There were 3 areas of my blood that were high.
I'm very familiar with that, and I recommend if you have not started our program yet, please start our program. Give us 90 days, get
When you
tested
say
again.
our program, does that mean, because the
That's
person
the
that,
products that Dr. Wallach is recommending for you that you can get with your son, and he can help you get them ordered in the mail to you.
you're talking about the Ocean's Gold or which other product?
All 90 essential nutrients, which is the brain and heart pack.
Well, I have been on for maybe 2 years, what they call, I don't know if you've ever seen this one, athletic greens. And
Yeah, it's not the same. It's
Well-
not the same.
well, it's very similar if you read, according to my son, who's told me to come on here,
Okay.
there's some things that are not on it.
Yeah,
And
I'm
what's the
familiar with that product, and that product is not including the cofactors that the body needs to actually use the nutrients that are in that product. And not all of them are in a form that the body can actually use. And that's one thing that I love about our products. I've been on that product. It did nothing for me.
Oh, really?
I felt results when I got on Dr. Wallach's protocol.
Okay.
And that's why I'm here today.
Mhm.
So I have gone from having, I can't remember if it's 13 or 17 different dose diagnoses and 13 and 17 different pharmaceuticals. And now I'm not on any of them or have any of those diagnoses. So
One of them thyroid.
if one of them had to do with thyroid, absolutely.
Mhm.
So give us the brain and heart pack. Ocean's Gold is one of the secret sauces that are specifically designed to help support thyroid function. So is the Z Radical. But Dr. Wallach, did you finish the full protocol for Lori?
I think that's a good start. The 90 plus the MSM plus.
Looking at the book and which one is it that I would order? What's it called?
So it's called the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack 2.0 or 2.5.
Do you know by any
MSM
what
Ultra.
page it-
So if you could have your son or reach out to us at doc@drjwallach.com, we'll
Okay.
make sure that we get the protocol to you, okay? We've
Okay.
got several hands and only a few minutes left, so I want to try to make sure that we get everybody. You're important too, but go ahead and use that doc@drjwallach.com and we'll get that answered for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You
Thank
bet.
you, Lori. All right, Doc, let's go to the next hand that is up, and Shantae. Actually, before we get to you, Shantae, I'm sorry. We had a question at the beginning and she got booted and her hand got out of order here. And Liz has a question in regards to, she's 57, 140 pounds, 5'7" tall. She does have a diagnosis of osteoporosis. Oh, thank you, Liz, for coming up on here with us. She also has a calcium stone. Does not cause any problems, but her urine test and the urine pH is high. She's cautious about taking vitamin C, which she knows that it's needed for the osteoporosis. But the question is, won't it cause the kidney stone to be worse?
Vitamin C will not cause a kidney stone to be worse. You have to appreciate when you have a kidney stone, you have raging osteoporosis. Okay, you have raging osteoporosis. And at 140 pounds, she needs 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. Get rid of all the bad foods, good food, bad food list. Get rid of the bad foods. She needs 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, 2 bottles a month of the MSM. She can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time, 2 canisters of the collagen peptides. She can take a scoop at breakfast, scoop at dinner time. She needs the Beyond Osteo FX, so she can take 1 scoop at breakfast, 1 scoop at dinner time, vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. And the osteoporosis can be fatal. I mean, you get a fracture, osteoporosis of the skull can cause you to blackout while you're driving or something like that, you don't just get osteoporosis of your right knee. When you get osteoporosis, it's in every bone and every joint in your body, including your skull. And so there's a lot going on here. And so she needs to jump on this nutritional regimen ASAP.
Thank you. Thank you, doctor.
You bet.
All right. Thank you, Liz. I'm glad I was able to get to that. Oh. And now let's go to the next hand that is up, and Shantae. Thank you, Shantae. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
It's saying you're not allowing me. Am I on there?
I hear you loud and clear. sweetheart.
Okay. All right. My question is about, because the osteoporosis of the skull and the need for more calcium. What if the calcium products are causing bowel issues? How do you get enough calcium? Because I know we don't have calcium. We don't use calcium without magnesium. Or if you do, you're not accomplishing much because of the absorption factor. The ratio has to be right, Dr. Wallach? So the question is, how do you go about doing that and deal with the bowel issues?
Well, make sure that there's no gluten in your life. Everybody
That's not there.
we associate with you, including the dog and the cat, got to be gluten free.
No gluten.
Cross contamination. Okay. And then we don't just have a calcium product. We don't just have a calcium magnesium product.
Right.
When you look at our products, we have 75 minerals.
Right.
Okay. So we're a totally different animal. So this is a balance of minerals from the sea. Okay. All the sea life, including plants and algae and those kinds of things. All the sea animals use it. And we have some, wonderful products with nobody has a program like we have to get all the minerals in the right balance with each other into you. Okay. And so, if you're concerned, start low. If you need, because of your body weight, you need to take 2 ounces a day, start out with a ½ ounce at breakfast. Okay.
Well, it is the OsteoFX. I finally switched to the biocalcium to see if that would be, because of the different ratios, if that would help any. But still, it seems like anytime there's calcium that within the longevity line, because it also is going to include magnesium, is causing bowel issues. So that's was my main question, as to how do you
I can't
get enough calcium, because there's symptoms in the body.
I cannot answer that question from 3,000 miles away, and no hair analysis is in front of me. Okay.
Okay. The hair analysis. All right. One other question, if you don't mind addressing real quickly, lupus.
Okay. Lupus is a combination of irritable bowel syndrome, which is a gluten issue, skin issues, which is a nutritional deficiency of collagen, and oftentimes a rash on the face and upper body. And usually when the people have the rash on the face and upper body, they're eating buckwheat, pancakes, noodles, that kind of stuff. Because buckwheat, that's one of the side effects of buckwheat, is to get the rashes on your face and your upper body and so forth. But irritable bowel syndrome is a big part of lupus. Okay. And doctors want you to believe it's an autoimmune disease. No, it's simply a gluten issue and nutritional deficiencies. And you can wind up with high blood pressure and diabetes and joint problems and arthritis and all this kind of stuff that goes along with all these deficiencies. Because when you have irritable bowel syndrome, remember that picture of the villi go away. Instead of being like a shag rug, they turn into just being 2 big knots in your intestine, and you cannot absorb efficiently. And so even if you're taking it, it's coming out the other end. Okay. And that's what causes lupus. And of course, they just want to give you cortisone and that kind of stuff and so on, anti-inflammatories, because they falsely believe that it's an autoimmune disease. They said that 100 years ago because they didn't have any answers. And so they're still teaching 100-year-old misinformation in medical schools.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so you get the hair analysis, and if all your minerals are low, guess what? You're not absorbing.
So if we're not absorbing, then that would be the digestive pack. So we need more flora and more enzymes.
No, you need to get away from gluten.
There's no gluten. That's not an issue. We've not been on gluten for probably 3 years.
Okay, good. And that includes buckwheat. You can't have any
Correct.
buckwheat.
No, I've never been a buckwheat. In fact, I just threw my buckwheat away because I've had it for several years in the freezer and never used it. And I'm like, this is stupid. So I just threw it away.
Okay,
But
good.
anyway, I had it there because I thought it was a healthy version and it could be a gluten-free version. But the more you've talked about it recently, I'm like, well, there's no need of even trying to figure that out, and just threw it away. But no, it's not been anything that we've had in our diet at all.
Okay, good. Okay,
So the absorption, I guess we'll just have to keep working on the absorption, even with the microbiome though. It's
Yeah.
still,
try our ultimate enzymes. Throw our ultimate enzymes in. You get our ultimate enzymes.
okay.
Take a couple of those, say 10 minutes before each meal, a couple ounces of water. See if that helps you.
Okay. So
Okay.
we'll do our best. Yep. Thank you.
Because
All
your
right.
intestines,
Thank you,
they can't
Shante.
produce enough- They can't produce enough enzymes.
All right, thank you so much, Shante. And let's go to the next hand that is up, Dr. Wallach. And Wayne, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Wallach and the crew.
So,
Hi, Wayne.
Yes, Dr. Wallach, I find that in recent times, when using my phone, holding it to my ears, after a short time, my left hand gets a cramp. I get a cramp in my palms, my fingers.
okay, do you ever have any ringing in your ears when you're driving?
No, I don't have ringing in my ears.
Okay, do you ever have any headaches?
No, but as I
Okay.
told you a few weeks ago, when I turn my head like that, I do sometime hear like little sounds in my neck.
Okay. How many times you wake up at night to urinate? Once, 3 times, 5 times?
Sometime once, sometime more than once.
Okay, when you say more than once, twice, 3 times, 5 times?
Say twice.
Okay, yeah, I think you have osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing some of the 12 pairs of cranial nerves in your spinal cord. Because when you wake up at night to urinate, that means your spinal cord is being squeezed and it's telling your urinary bladder to urinate. And that's why you get up at night to urinate, because the skull is having that effect through the spinal cord being squeezed coming out of the skull. Okay. And that would explain your headaches and that kind of stuff.
No, I don't have a headache issue.
No.
So I would like to talk a little bit about, thank you, Wayne, for your question. And I think that does also have to do with the osteoporosis of the skull. And this is why. So as you're holding this like this, the neck is not completely lined up. So it's causing some pressure here at the atlas where the vagus nerves are coming out and through, and then causing tingling, numbness, pain in the hand. So it's a referred pain. It's not so much that there's a problem here, it's up here with the way that you're holding. And that's falls in line with the frequency of having to get up and urinate, especially if you're a side sleeper and you move or rotate, you're going to get some extra pinching as the spine is moving back and forth and causing that referred, it wouldn't be a pain, but that referred sensation then that you need to have to go to the restroom for those that have frequencies. And I know that you mentioned, waking up once or so during the night isn't alarming for the most part, especially if you have 16 ounces of water before you go to bed. So, but Dr. Wallach, we have a few minutes. If you could explain what is happening when that skull is thickening, I'd greatly appreciate that. Wayne, did you have something else that you wanted to add real quick?
The issue I raised a while ago is not just if I have the phone on my ears. If I'm just typing, let's say I'm doing a text and have the phone in my hand before me and I'm typing, or if I'm even on
How are you holding it?
just
Do you
before
have
me,
so that you're
just before me and I'm typing or doing a text. not necessarily lean in my head, but if I have it before me and typing, I do sometimes have the cramps in my fingers.
Okay, now let me answer that question. Have you ever heard of Bell's palsy, where one side of the face droops?
Yes, in fact, I know somebody with that right now.
Okay, good. Now, maybe a couple months later, the other side will droop. Okay, maybe it'll never droop on the other side. Well, the same thing is happening with you. You're getting symptoms on one side, okay, because nothing in nature is identical, okay? And so you can have osteoporosis of the skull, and it's worse on one side than it is on the other side. And that's why you have why you have things like Bell's palsy on one side so often, as opposed to both sides. Okay, and the same thing is true for numbness, tingling, in hands and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, same principle.
All right. Thank you.
We need to rebuild that skull, open up those tunnels so the nerves can get through there without being squeezed. Okay, that's our whole goal here.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. Yeah, keep in touch. Talk to us every week or so.
Certainly will.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. And so we're going to have to talk about what happens during osteoporosis of the skull, you know, what the physiological effects are sometime, but we're at the end of our show. So if I could get my co-host to come up here with me, that would be absolutely fabulous, and say hello. How come I'm not seeing everybody? Where'd they go? There we go. Thank you so much. So everybody, on behalf of the Ask Doc Live crew, Dr. Judy Reynolds, John T. McCollier, Nasima Omar, Ruth Ellen Sanchez, and of course, the doc that we're asking live, Dr. Joel Wallach. We thank you so much for joining us. Get back with the person that shared this program with you, and thank them for the information that you heard, because it is empowering, folks. There's so many things. And I know you heard Dr. Wallach mention osteoporosis of the skull, almost every single situation. Well, that is because those nutritional deficiencies are causing so many different conditions. So we need to address the body as a whole. We need to make sure that we're keeping the bones strong. We want to make sure that the digestive system is in its optimal best, so that you can get the best results from the investment that you make into yourself with intentional supplementation in a form that the body can actually use and absorb, because there aren't any missing components here, folks. Dr. Wallach's research and formulas have been proven time and time again that if you're having issues with them, it's because we need to work on the digestive system so that you can best absorb and utilize within the body. So Dr. Wallach, thank you so much again for joining us for these 2 hours. Thank you to my co-hosts for all of the information that they put into the chat. If you're on live with us and you had a question that we did not get to, please go to askdoclive.com, click contact us, send us an email, and myself or one of my certified holistic health coaches will get back with you and get your questions answered, so you also can feel the difference. Again, my name is Becca Dukes Kozak, and on behalf of the Ask Doc Live crew, bye for now.
Bye-bye. Love you guys. Love you gals.
Love you, Doc.
Team. Love you, dear. Bye-bye.